So the title for this episode is 9 times out of 10 gonna be I thought I'd have it figured out by now. So for everyone that's new here, welcome back to Born Unfiltered. For our second season, we are starting our series called Young Adult Diaries. And it's not a self-help podcast or anything like that. It's basically just like my life journal while I figure out adulthood and share it with you guys. So, I wanted to just bring some quick life updates up to the forefront just so we become more familiar with each other. I know that my other podcasts kind of came off more self help, so I want this to be a little bit more vulnerable. Right now, I'm just wrapping up my summer classes. We're about to have finals next week, so if I'm being really honest, I'm stressed out about it, but I'm gonna get through it. It's nothing we're not gonna get through. And I also started taking my like creator journey or influencer journey a lot more seriously. So I've been posting on TikTok more. I've been trying to be more consistent on my other socials, and even be consistent enough to at least be on here once a week. So, I mean, between school and trying to take this more seriously, it has been like pretty overwhelming, especially trying to like balance my own tasks, my own daily tasks, my own weekly tasks, just my own obligations. So it's pretty difficult. But my 20th birthday also just passed. My birthday was on July 10th. And for this, I wanted this episode to be a little bit more specific. I wanted it to be specifically about how no one has it figured out in their 20s at all. So, first of all, I wrote a few questions down for myself that I wanted to answer. And these were questions that I knew were going to be a little bit reflective. So if you also want to answer these questions for yourself too, be sure to like write it down or just keep it in mind. So at 18, what did you think 20 would look like? If I'm being quite honest, I genuinely thought that like by 20 I'd be a millionaire or something. I thought I'd be like done with school, a millionaire, and like traveling the whole world, but I kind of realized, wait, no, I was just really in La La Land. Like it's more than that. It's definitely more than that. So what actually happened was, I turned 18. And when I was 18, let's see, I was my sophomore year of college. So, first year at UAB, sophomore year of college. And I mean, everything was okay. It was pretty chill. It was definitely stressful, and I knew it'd get more stressful. But I didn't think it'd get this level of stressful, okay? Like, when you're in your 20s, you're like, how the heck did I even make it? Okay? This is genuinely a milestone. Like, I don't know how I made it this far, okay? So, if you're also someone who either turned 20 this year or is 25 or just remember turning 20 or in your 20s, or if you just relate to this in any way, shape, or form, you'll know like the actual trajectory that you take compared to what you planned is always way off. You know what I mean? Like it's always just way off. And I think that's just how life is. And I've kind of come to accept that a little bit. Um Another thing is that in high school, I remember hearing people say a lot about, you don't want to compare yourself to others and things of that nature. And I feel like back then it was a bit easier to do that because now that you're older, it's almost like you have way more competition. Like way more competition. Like it's not just, oh yeah, you're trying to make it afloat in your city. I lived in a little small city, like small little city, almost small town girl. It's nothing like that. Like you're competing against people who are, you know what I mean, 40s, 50s, 60s, you know what I mean? And not even just in your lifetime, in some ways you're also like competing with many many lifetimes ago, if you're catching what I'm saying. So yeah, It's definitely different. Um, Now that I'm 20, I understand what that means now when people say don't compare yourself because it becomes so much easier to. It's so much easier for me to sit here and be 20 and be like, dang, I could be out in a penthouse right now. I could be a millionaire right now. I could be doing X, Y, and Z. And it's not to say you can't sit there and manifest it or you can't believe it. Totally can. It's just when you start comparing your present and your process to someone else's result, that's whenever it starts becoming problematic. You see what I'm saying? So, another thing is truly understanding that people really are posting their highlight reel, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But as someone who consumes social media, you have to be extremely mindly of like you have to be extremely mindful of that. You have to be very mindful of that because as you continue to see people's highlight reels and then you doom scroll and you get off your phone and you kind of come back to reality, in some ways your brain is kind of comparing the two, you know? You kind of don't get the same spike in your brain getting up and going to make yourself some breakfast than you would seeing, you know, some random guy on the internet in his penthouse with 20 bands in his hand and a random cat on his car. You get what I'm saying? So I think on top of that, we also see on social media that a lot of us are LARPing. And I mean, that's kind of what life is. But a lot of us are LARPing. And I think everybody is just trying to become someone while pretending that you're already them, you know? So for me personally, in my, I guess, 20 years of life now, the lesson or the thing that I'm realizing is that I've seen different versions of myself. And I also have different versions of myself that I'm trying to build. And as y'all can tell, I mean, I'm on here, I'm doing my podcast, I'm being more consistent on social media, and I'm, putting myself out there and I'm doing those things that I was scared to do before. Because before I was afraid that, well, I'm a biomedical science student. Like, people don't think that I would want to go on the internet. People wouldn't think I'd be into beauty and fashion or whatever, or that I'd be interested in having a boyfriend. I mean, I've had people literally tell me that, you get so used to people putting you in a schema. They get used to putting you in like a box. They just label you as, oh, you're just the nerd. Oh, you're just the popular kid. Oh, you just want to be the doctor. Okay, yeah. You know, they just kind of label you, and then when they see you do something different, it kind of boggles their mind. And I've always taken the time to like notice that. But now that I'm older, I realize I shouldn't worry about what other people are thinking about me. Like, I shouldn't worry about what box they put me in because at the end of the day, that shows the limit of their mind. You get what I'm saying? It just shows they don't have the capacity to see someone who is capable of doing multiple things. So, I don't think anyone really prepares you for the fact that you're never going to just be like the gym guy or just the smart guy or just, you know, the cook. Whatever hobby or thing you tie to your value, no one tells you that you're gonna have like 10 different identities at once. You're gonna try different things at 20. You might try being more outside, A lot of people's freshman year of college, they go outside. And then after that, some people still go outside and they're still a party person. Some people aren't a party person anymore. They tried it and they were like, okay, I tried it, but that wasn't really my thing. Everyone's trying different stuff. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people put other people under the microscope for it. And it's normal. I mean, it's obviously normal that people are going to pay attention to what other people do. But I think it's also important to have that equal level of understanding for the other side. Another thing that I've been going through, and I think like pretty much all of our generation has been going through, to be honest, is this pressure to have a timeline with every single freaking thing in your life. Like every little thing. And I've written down multiple things. Like when you get out of high school, everyone has a timeline on your graduation. Oh, yeah, what are you going to do whenever you graduate? What are you going to do when you graduate? Some people don't care, but some people really internalize, dang, there's a lot of pressure to know exactly what I want to do. Same with your career. I mean, understanding, okay, are you really going to go like all in on this career choice or this career path? What if something doesn't work out? Life tends to happen. And also, when you're chasing a career, there's still plenty of time in between that. There's plenty of that transitional period in between that. So it's like, what are you going to do in between that? Or to have a timeline on when you're married. You get out of college and you're 18 and you get married and everyone says you're too young to get married. But then you get married at 30 and they say, oh, you're too old to get married. You have a kid at 20 and they're like, oh my gosh, you had a kid so young. But then you have a kid at like 35 and they say you're old. You get like, there's always this pressure to have this timeline, and then the pole, like the flag keeps moving. The flag post is always moving. And another thing that makes that worse is the comparison trap, not just from social media, like we said earlier, but comparing your GPA when you're in school, comparing your relationships, how many friends you have compared to the person beside you, or your neighbor, how much money you make, the fact that maybe you can't get all of this stuff when you go to the store, but someone else can. Fitness, how you look, how many followers you have, or how far into your career you are. Comparison is always going to change every season because no matter what happens in your life, you're gonna find something to compare it to. But now that we understand how that works, or now that I understand how that works, I'm also learning it's okay to change your mind. That's the first thing. I feel like when we're younger, they don't really remind us, hey, yeah, you can put, your energy into this career. You can put your all in this career, but you can change your mind whenever you want. And it's your choice. The second thing is that your progress is not always visible at all. At all. And that's okay. Like it's not going to be visible. But at the end of the day, you have to remember like, okay, this is what I'm doing it for. This is going to make me feel better in the long term. Or this is going to make me feel better now. Like just remembering what your long-term goal is, and sticking to it. My third example is that rest isn't failure. There's nothing wrong with resting. When you're in college, when you work, when you have a career, anything like that, especially in the US, they stress, working a lot and working really hard. Hustle culture is a huge thing here. And it's okay to, chase your bag. It's okay to get your money. You also need to rest and prioritize your health. Rest is something that you need. Okay? So, rest is not failure. It's okay to lay down. It's okay if you want to just lay down and bundle up one day, and you've been overly stressed out the whole week and you just want to sit down and eat some ice cream. You know what I mean? Why sit and beat yourself up over that when you already have the whole world beating you up? The whole world is already going to beat you up. You'll have supporters, but the people that don't know you are always going to look and see something or, assume something. And what does assuming do? It makes an ASS out of you and me. So let's continue on. Let's continue on. You don't need permission to start over either. And this is kind of tying back to the whole it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. And it's also okay to start over whenever you want. You don't need permission from anyone. You don't need any validation from anyone to do that. You don't. Like, you just don't. And my fifth thing that I've also noticed being in college and just kind of, I guess, adulting for the last 2 years is that literally everyone is winging it. Everyone's winging it. Literally. Everyone is winging this. I mean, in my experience, when you ask professionals, hey, how did you get into this career? How did you find out about this specific opportunity? Or how did you get in this thing you do? 9 times out of 10, they didn't come out the womb thinking they were going to do that. They didn't come out of high school already preparing to do those things. The opportunity the opportunity had presented itself. And that's the main thing that I think I'm starting to notice in my 20s now is not only imagining the opportunities around me, but actually going towards them and creating the opportunities around me as well. So, being more consistent on social media is one of my examples of trying to do that. So, this far on, since everyone in the chat might be getting a little sleepy, I have some questions for the audience and for everyone that's here for the podcast. What's one thing that you thought you'd have figured out by now? It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, even if it's dinner, what's one thing that you thought you'd figure out by now? The next thing, what is stressing you out the most in your 20s? Is it because you want a mansion by 20? Is it because you're struggling to hop on Fortnite tonight? Is it because, Striker hasn't got the lamb yet? We don't know. But before everyone leaves, I want to end off with this. Maybe none of us are behind. Genuinely. Maybe you're exactly where you need to be. Maybe you're not behind. Maybe you're just early in your story. Maybe you're just early in the story that you didn't know. You're behind in your story, but maybe you're early in the story that the universe or God, whatever you believe in, fate, free will, we can continue on. It's maybe you're early in your story. Maybe you have another path set for you. Maybe you have something set that's bigger for you. Maybe the window of opportunity is closed for other things because you deserve opportunities that are bigger than that. Exactly. Life is literally like a field, not a racetrack. Exactly. Exactly. So yes, thank you everybody who came in. I think that's probably how I'm going to tease the end and clip that part. I'm going to post that on the podcast, so it should be on here. It should be on the Spotify probably by Wednesday, between Wednesday and Saturday. I'm going to let you guys know though on all the socials. But yeah, let me know how that feels. Let me know how y'all feel after that conversation. And let me know if y'all want anything else or if y'all want me to go deeper into anything else next time for sure. But I also have some other stuff too. Just some other little notes. One thing I wrote down was that adulthood doesn't really start at 18. It starts the first time you realize no one knows what the fuck they're doing. No one. Literally no one knows what the fuck they're doing, okay? Everybody is waking up every day and you know what your responsibilities are and you go to them. That's it. The second thing is that I want you guys to adopt this too. The same way that we're trying to build ourselves up, the same way we want to build our career up, we need to do it simultaneously, okay? Which means if you're in school, if you do a trade, if you work, anything like that, as much as you work hard is as much as you should be taking care of yourself. And I genuinely mean that. Like, everyone that's in this chat and everyone that's listening to this later, whenever you look at the rerun or whenever I post this on the YouTube or anything like that, you deserve so much more and you deserve so much better. You do. Stop settling for less. Stop. Okay? Build yourself up too. Take some time for you. You know, it's easy to take care of other people. Like, I get it. It's easy to say you love someone else and you want to take care of someone else, but take care of you too. Like, you deserve it too. So if you want to go get yourself that flavor of ice cream, go get you that flavor of ice cream. Go. Okay? I'm giving everyone here permission to go and do something fun for themselves tonight. If you want to go get your nails done sometime this week, do it. If you want to do your own nails because you don't want to pay for it, do it. If you just wanted to go for a drive around town, do it. Okay? Because literally, like, every day is short, gang. Every day is so short. On my birthday, I literally saw a car crash and, like, light on fire. And on my birthday, I literally was thinking, dang, bro, your life can change in half a second.